All right, everyone. So I'm a little late to the bandwagon for Dragon Age Inquisition, but I thought I'd give my take on the best as I can remember um, what happened in my Dragon Age Origins. And I don't really care about Dragon Age 2. I played through it, but it wasn't memorable for me, so I just kind of went with default stuff on that. I did change a couple choices that I do remember, but my Dragon Age Origins ones is for the most part pretty accurate, I believe. But let's go in here and see everything.
If you believe the stories, mankind's pride gave rise to the Darkspawn. Countless in number and toxic to all life, Darkspawns search endlessly for an archdemon. When they find one, Darkspawn armies surge up from their corrupt barrows beneath the ground, and a blight begins. Grey Wardens are the only warriors capable of destroying an archdemon, and history always honors the one who sacrifices all to kill the beast. In the fifth blight, the Warden was the hero of Ferelden, a mage living in the Circle Tower at Lake Calenhad. Drawn into an escape plot by another mage, the hero became snared in the Circle's dangerous politics. Duncan, a Grey Warden, helped the mage escape to a new life as a warden. The allied Ferelden and Grey Warden forces met in Ostagar, where King Kaelin's armies and a host of wardens gathered, ready to destroy the Darkspawn. But valor turned to despair as Loghain betrayed his king. Kaelin's forces were slaughtered, and the south was lost. The hero, now a full-fledged Grey Warden, survived with the aid of Flemeth, the mysterious witch of the wilds. Joined by Flemeth's daughter, Morrigan, and a Grey Warden named Alistair, the hero set out to build an army strong enough to abolish the Blight. With the traitorous Loghain now seated on Ferelden's throne, the Warden sought help from the influential Arl Eamon of Redcliffe. However, they arrived in Redcliffe to find the town under siege. As each night, undead rose in waves and assailed the battered village. With the hero's help, the people of Redcliffe stood fast against the undead horde. The Wardens reached Arl Eamon's castle only to find the Arl lying at the edge of death, and his court fallen into madness. To save his father's life, Eamon's young son, Connor, had made a deal with a demon, and quickly fallen victim to its possession. Connor's life was sacrificed to end the demonic threat to Redcliffe. But deals with demons are never straightforward. The demon agreed only to save Eamon's life, not restore him to health. Arl Eamon needed a miracle to recover. The hero located an urn containing the sacred ashes of Andraste, which were said to cure any ailment. The urn was protected by ancient traps, tests of will, and a dragon-worshipping cult that wanted to twist the urn's power to its own ends. The urn remained pure, but mysteriously disappeared after the Wardens departed. Only the temple dedicated to it still stands. With a pinch of the ashes, the hero restored the Arl to health. Informed of Loghain's treachery, Eamon swore his political and military support. The circles of Magi are bound by oath to aid the Grey Wardens in times of blight. However, Lake Calenhad's tower could offer little help. One of its mages, Uldred, had become possessed by a pride demon and was twisting other circle mages into abominations. The hero fought to the top of the tower and defeated Uldred, saving the remaining mages. Grateful for their lives, the mages joined the Warden's army. The allies gained at the Circle were not the only soldiers to join the Warden's forces, however. Dalish elves don't usually make alliances, but even deep hatred can be set aside in the face of oblivion. An ancient curse was destroying Ferelden's largest Dalish clans, turning the elves into werewolves. Zathrian, the clan's keeper, claimed that the cure required the heart of the great wolf, Witherfang. Years before, Zathrain himself had afflicted a group of humans with the curse that now ravaged his clan. As long as he lived, the curse endured. The hero freed the werewolves from the long-standing curse, and the Daedalus joined the Warden's forces. Blights may happen hundreds of years apart, but the dwarves who live below the surface of Thedas fight Darkspawn every day. No one is better schooled in battling Darkspawn than the warriors of Orzammar, except perhaps their allies of old, the Grey Wardens. The hero arrived in Orzammar in the wake of King Endrin's death to find political factions fighting for control of the dwarven capital. Only the vote of a venerated paragon could break the deadlock to elect a ruler, and order the dwarves to honor their Grey Warden treaty and join the battle against the new blight. The hero set off to find a paragon named Branka, who had disappeared into the Deep Roads in search of a legendary artifact, the Anvil of the Void, created by the renowned smith Caridin to forge mighty war golems. The hero helped Caridin destroy the Anvil of the Void, along with the dark secrets that could trap a living soul inside a mechanical construct. The hero emerged from the Deep Roads with a master-forged crown to bestow the Paragon's favor upon whichever rival candidate would be crowned king. Balin, the youngest son of King Endrin who was suspected of foul play, or Haramont, the aging traditionalist backed by the Dwarven Assembly. Balin followed his father to the throne. He leads with a ruthless but progressive hand, seeking to re-establish ties to the surface kingdoms. With Dwarden's strength now bolstering the Warden's army, the hero had to deal with Loghain so Ferelden could stand unified against the Darkspawn before the Blight swallowed the world. The kingdom of Ferelden stood divided. While some nobles supported Loghain's regency, others condemned his inaction against the Darkspawn. Civil war brewed, and Arl Eamon called a landsmeet in hopes of curtailing the conflict and removing Loghain from the throne. Alistair ended Loghain's life in the name of justice for the Wardens who died at Ostagar. As the Warden's united army massed in Redcliffe, the Darkspawn overran Denerim, laying siege to Ferelden's capital city. The hero's army fought valiantly through Denerim and broke the Darkspawn siege. On Fort Dracon's highest tower, the hero's strongest allies fought alongside the Warden in a final heroic battle against the massive Archdemon. The Archdemon was killed without the sacrifice of a Grey Warden's life. With no Archdemon to lead them, the Darkspawn scattered. Most fled underground, still teeming in number and always seeking a new Archdemon to awaken. The shattered kingdom of Ferelden embarked on a long journey to recovery. In the Blight's aftermath, strong leadership was crucial. Alistair, half-brother to King Kaelin, became Ferelden's new king, and the line of rulers who descended from Calenhad the Great remained unbroken. Ferelden still stands, as obstinate and resolute as the Dog Lords ever are, but the events of the Fifth Blight loom over it as the nation rebuilds. For people across Thedas, legends of the hero of Ferelden remain the nation's brightest beacons of hope during its darkest times. It all began in Kirkwall, the fall of Knight Commander Meredith, the Kunari Uprising, and of course, the Chantry's destruction and the onset of Mage Rebellion. One person always stood amidst the swirling chaos: Hawk, the champion of Kirkwall. The Hawk family fled Lothering, refugees from the Blight. Leandra, mother of the champion, and siblings Bethany and Carver hoped to find refuge at her family's estate in Kirkwall, far to the north. As a mage with a family legacy of magic on both sides, Hawk naturally became involved in the events that ultimately led to the Mage Rebellion. The Hawks escaped the Blight with the help of Aveline Valen, a warrior and family friend. It's said that the family was also aided by Flemeth, the notorious Witch of the Wilds. Hawk's sister Bethany never reached the Free Marches. She was killed by Darkspawn while defending her family. The family's first years in Kirkwall were difficult. Leandra's brother Gamlin had lost the family fortune. The Hawks lived in poverty, forced to indenture themselves in return for entrance to the city. To pay off the debt, Hawk was forced to work for a gang of smugglers. All the while, Hawk and Carver did their best to hide Hawk's magic from the Templars. Opportunity eventually struck in the form of a dwarf named Bartran Tethras, who was planning an expedition to the Deep Roads. It was a long shot, but with gold gained from the expedition, Hawk could free the family from its criminal creditors and further Templar scrutiny. Hawk met a rogue Grey Warden named Anders, who possessed detailed maps of the Deep Roads. These maps were crucial to the expedition's success. Once Hawk obtained them, everything else fell quickly into place. Out of concern for his safety, Hawk insisted that Carver stay in Kirkwall rather than accompany the expedition. Hawk did find ancient dwarven treasure, but the group also stumbled upon a statuette formed from a strange red lyrium. Upon returning to the surface, Hawk learned that Carver had joined the Templars, pursuing his own fate instead of living in his sibling's shadow. The gold Hawk recovered from the Deep Roads brought back Leandra's stately childhood home in Hightown. The Hawks had barely settled into their new home when Leandra was murdered. A deeply sinister and twisted killing. Hawk hunted down Quentin, the blood mage responsible, but could not prevent Leandra's death. Leandra's tragic death was part of a critical problem facing Kirkwall. Rising tension between the city's mages, who felt increasingly oppressed, and Templars, who grew increasingly suspicious of their activities. Adding to the strain, a large contingent of Kunari had also established themselves in Kirkwall, much to the growing discomfort of the city's rulers. After their dreadnought was shipwrecked many years before, a group of stranded Kunari were allowed to remain in a cordoned-off area in Lowtown. As time passed, the Kunari made no effort to return home, and offered no explanation about why they remained. Tensions rose to a breaking point. Revered Mother Patrice, convinced the Kunari were a threat to the Chantry's faith, incited violence between the Kunari and the Kirkwall populace. Hawk knew that Patrice would bring about unnecessary conflict. Though the champion tried to stop her, Patrice orchestrated the murder of Seamus Dumar, a Viscount's son and a recent convert to the Qun. When her crime was discovered, a Kunari assassin killed her. After Seamus was murdered, the Arashok of the Kunari group lost patience with the humans of Kirkwall. They would now submit to the Qun or die. The Kunari struck hard and fast. They took the palace in Hightown and beheaded the Viscount to immediately quash any resistance. Aided by Knight Commander Meredith and First Enchanter Orsino, Hawk reached the palace and stood toe-to-toe with the fearsome Kunari leader. Hawk fought the Kunari leader. The fierce battle resulted in the Arashok's death and the liberation of Kirkwall from its brief occupation. Kirkwall's problems were still not over, however. After Viscount Dumar's death, Knight Commander Meredith took power and blocked all attempts to appoint a new Viscount. Under Meredith's command, the Templars tightened their grip on the mages, planning to suppress what Meredith saw as a growing rebellion. Anders, who spent years fighting for justice and freedom for his fellow mages, saw that the time for negotiation was past. He destroyed Kirkwall's chantry, killing hundreds, including Grand Cleric Elthina. This single act began a rebellion that spread from circle to circle, until all circles of Magi had risen up in defiance against chantry rule. There was no forgiveness for what Anders had done, and he asked for death at Hawk's hands. Hawk fulfilled the troubled mage's final request, and many others died along with Anders that day. Fighting spread swiftly through the city. Some mages rebelled openly, many of them succumbing to possession. Templars turned their swords on mages who rebelled and on those who did not. As First Enchanter Orsino refused to bend to the Templars, Knight Commander Meredith demanded that every mage in Kirkwall be put to the sword. Hawk saved many mages from Templar blades, keeping them from succumbing to possession or the temptations of blood magic. In the end, however, Hawk was forced to strike down Orsino, who had betrayed his own values by resorting to blood magic himself. The battle proved one thing. Knight Commander Meredith had gone mad. Hawk saw the truth of it when Meredith unsheathed her sword, and the red lyrium idol from the deep roads was embedded within it. The blade fueled her hatred and paranoia, as it had for months. After a horrific battle, the red lyrium of the Knight Commander's sword consumed her as she died. Meredith became a statue, her face a frozen mask of horror. Little is known of the champion since that final battle. However, Hawk's story lives on in legend and song. Memories of the indelible changes the champion of Kirkwall brought to the face of Thedas.
All right, and so that is the world state that I'm importing into Dragon Age Inquisition. So, yeah. All right, so that is my Dragon Age Inquisition world state, basically, that I'm going to be importing into it. It's basically the default world state with a lot of changes in the Origins and just a couple changes in Dragon Age 2. Because I don't really remember Dragon Age 2 a whole lot, but Dragon Age Origins was awesome. The unfortunate thing, I could not get my old character imported. Not the save, because I know it doesn't import that, but it will import your character itself, like the profile and all that, which is kind of a shame, because this is my old character up on the screen right now. And I thought he was kind of a badass. I really, really enjoyed him. But what can you do, you know? It's not, I don't know. He was a cool dude. Maybe you run into him. I don't know. He's probably dead by now. But, yeah, so I was kind of disappointed with that. But a lot of people have been having problems with importing their character, again, just their character, not the save file, into the keep for Dragon Age Inquisition. So, coming up, character creation and all that, and then we will start out Dragon Age Inquisition.